we're reviewing the new Lupin the Third series called Lupin the Third. Started in I think the end of 2014, the beginning of 2015, I think. Lupin the Third is a series created by a Japanese comic author named Monkey Punch. Well, well, his pseudonym is Monkey Punch. It started in like the late 60s and ran for like a couple years. Got adapted into like anime series. One of the directors on the TV series, the original or the second season, was like Hayao Miyazaki, and he directed one of the movies, Castle Cagliostro. So it has like a strong animation background, I guess. You can talk while I'm talking. You don't need to be silent. I'm not.
Are you recording now?
Yeah, I'm recording now. And why do you think I would bring that up? Like,
I don't know. I thought you were going over your facts.
No, I was going over my facts for people who have no idea what it is. But
Okay.
you don't need to know that. You don't need to know any of that going into it. Well, you do need to know a basic idea of who the characters are to enjoy the series, but you really don't need to know anything. Because you, which is why I asked you, you don't know anything about Lupin.
I know everything now.
And you, well, now since I said it, but you don't know anything and you watched the series, so I wanted to get. See, I've seen like Lupin had like a little bit of popularity in when it aired on like Adult Swim or Toonami.
It did?
Yeah, it aired on Adult Swim. The second or third series, I think the second series from the like 70s, with the one Hayao Miyazaki worked on a couple seasons of or whatever, that aired on Adult Swim in like the late mid 2000s or something. And yeah, so it got a little bit of popularity because anything at that time that came on TV, like it was when anime was actually on TV popular, back during the like Cowboy Bebop, Samurai Champloo, like Dragon Ball, Sailor Moon, Yu Yu Hakusho, like all those old anime that people still talk about. Like, remember when anime was good? like those series, like it aired the second or third TV series aired and had old animation and stuff, but it, people saw it. So this is the newest version of that, which is set in Italy, and is the first. It's the first like actual continuation, since there's been like A Woman Called Fujiko, which is like a spin-off, and there've been a bunch of spin-offs and like movies and stuff, like the Detective Conan crossover, which we watched. This you hate because of the art style and stuff, but yeah, like they've been crossovers, but there's never been like a continuation of like the main story. And the new one is like the first one is actually like it's canon, like this is actually happening. And one of the first things they did was add like the two new characters, Nyx, the M16, I think, British Secret Service agent, and Lupin's wife. So that's gonna start off like basically how the series starts. We're introduced to Lupin's wife, Rebecca, the Italian. She's like the Italian Kim Kardashian. She's like a socialite. She's like a famous socialite and model. We find out later and stuff like that. And both those characters are tied into like the main arc of the story. But there's a lot of like, because it's Lupin, a lot of like episodic kind of adventures of them stealing famous artifacts in Italy, and like there's a little bit of history and like pop culture stuff, and that's basically what it is. So what were your impressions as someone who has no idea what Lupin is, never seen any of it, didn't know what it was going to be like? Like, how did you feel watching the series like for the first time?
Well, first off, I saw the opening, and that gave me a really great impression because the animation's beautiful.
Would you say
Would
you say it is pretty buck wild?
I guess.
Pretty decent opening right there.
A decent opening. But another thing that I noticed about it that's different from other animes is the art style is definitely unique, and it doesn't really look like the typical anime art style that you see everywhere. So personally, my favorite things about anime is animation and art style, so Yeah.
that made you like it more, or like that
Honestly,
made
yeah.
like, cause you like Okumatsu-kun or whatever, right? And that looks like,
Osamatsu
yeah, I
Kun.
guess that doesn't look like modern anime. That looks old too, but it has the same thing where it's like an old style, but they updated it,
Yeah,
like the
but it has
colors
a
and stuff,
very
yeah, to make it look
yeah.
modern. I was gonna say like Okumatsu-kun or whatever. It looks like stereo.
Osamatsu Kun.
Osamatsu-kun. It looks like
Osamatsu Kun, yeah.
it looks like I was gonna say it looks like stereotypical anime because I watched the first episode, which is like the Vichy episode where it looks on purpose, but it doesn't look like that for the rest of the series. So I forget. I was gonna say because you don't like older style, and Lupin and that other series too are both in an older style. So it's funny that like the thing
Well, I
you
mean,
liked
it's
about
definitely
them,
modernized, so.
yeah, but like the designs are still an older style. So it's not necessarily like the older designs. It's like the style of animation that you don't like, right?
I guess so.
Um. All right. So the story started off with what did you expect from the when you saw the opening? Like, what kind of series did you expect? And is that like the did it like match your expectations, or did it like was it different from what you expected based on the opening and the art
It
style?
was. Sorry, but it was way different. Honestly, I thought that Lupin was gonna end up being a police officer rather
Really?
than a thief. Yeah. Um, so right off the bat, I was pretty wrong.
Did you think it was gonna be like really gritty from like the opening because it has like a lot of guns and like it's kind of like a spy sort of like James Bondy opening? Do you think it's gonna be like gunshots and blood and like police chases and people getting
Um,
their headshots, or you just thought it was gonna be like a cop show about like chasing cops in a car?
Basically, I thought it was gonna be kind of like a stereotypical American cop show,
Oh,
but it was just anime styled.
oh, okay.
So I was pleasantly surprised when I found out it's actually about a thief.
Were
And
you
hmm?
were you what was your impression of the characters when they were introduced?
Well, I thought that Rebecca was the coolest character ever because her hair is so cool. Um, and then I really just liked Lupin's facial shape, all around fashion sense, cause it just made
Did you
him
find it
very
easy?
unique.
Did you find it easy to like understand like who what was going on, like who they were, like what their roles were and stuff like that? Because in this series, there's not like, and even in the one that aired on Toonami, there wasn't like a lot of introduction to the characters. It's not like this is Lupin, he's a world traveling thief, or he goes around the world. This is Zenigata, you know, like the chief of police who's always like after him but can never capture him. You know, like they don't really explain it. They just sort of throw you into the series. It's just like Lupin's getting married, and if you've never seen it, it's like who is Lupin? You know, like the series starts off like you're at Lupin's wedding, and all his friends are there. You don't know who they are. They're just a samurai guy with a gun and another girl with big boobies, and you're just like, okay, he's getting married. Like
Well,
they don't really introduce you to the characters. They just kind of like throw you into like the beginning of the story. They introduce you to the new characters, like Rebecca and Nyx get like a legitimate introduction. I think the first episode is more of like Rebecca's introduction than any other character in the series. So, did you have a hard time, like, because you've seen about like 20 plus episodes at least, so the series is almost over. Did you have a hard time in the beginning understanding who the characters were and like what their roles were, or did you immediately kind of like get it like from the beginning, like what they were
well,
doing and what the show was about, who the characters were, and that they were thieves, who Zenigata was, and things like that, like who Fujiko was to Lupin?
well, it didn't help that you started me off not on the first episode, but actually, I believe on the second. Um, but yeah, I got a pretty good understanding of who the characters were. I mean, obviously, I don't have the understanding of someone who has followed the series their entire lives, but
I mean,
from
the
what I've
series is pretty
seen,
much this. It's pretty much this with like older styles of animation. It's kind of just episodic, chasing around, going on.
Well, I
heist.
did think that the detective guy was Lupin's dad for the
Oh
longest
yeah,
time.
yeah, you did. Because he calls them pops in the subs or whatever.
Yeah, so it was a little confusing.
But you
And
kind
it
of.
seemed kind of fitting, especially with Garp and Luffy. So I just thought they were following that kind of anime trope.
Okay. Yeah, I think that trope is started with Lupin or whatever. But
Oh, really?
yeah, I just think One Piece is influenced a lot by Lupin in general. Like the old art from the guy who draws it and stuff. Like his style was like it looked just like Lupin and Dragon Ball mixed together. It was literally like Lupin's body with Goku's face, and like a little bit of Lupin's face too. So I think he just like influenced a lot by that. Like Zoro, Sanji, and Lupin are similar to like Zoro. I mean Lupin, Jigen, and what's the other? What's the samurai's name?
I
Goemon.
honestly,
Goemon.
there
Lupin,
you
Jigen,
go.
and Goemon are similar to like Zoro, Sanji, and Luffy. So, and yeah, Smoker's kind of like Zingata. But okay, so over the course of the series, did you understand who Fujiko was? That's what I'm interested in because they really don't give you a like they don't explain it explicitly in the beginning what their relationship is.
Um, well, my understanding of her is that she's just a girl who tags along with Lupin on his adventures. And they have some sort of love interest, and that's the only understanding that I have between the relationship of them.
Okay, and what would you say? Like, what were the highlights and the negatives of this series? Like, as you've seen so far.
Well, the highlights, like I mentioned before, the animation, the art style, they're really beautiful. The opening is very catchy, and the characters are lovable. And as for a downside, it's kind of noticeable that the animation quality has been somewhat degrading over the past episodes. Um, Sometimes the stories aren't as interesting, but
I meant like specific episodes, like what episodes stood out, were like memorable, and what episodes were you kind of like I wasn't really interested. Like I wish that I was less interested, or like this went on too long. I wish they would have got to this part sooner, or like oh I liked this episode a lot,
all the
or like this
I
part of the
guess
story, or I didn't find this part that good, or I was confused.
the first couple episodes were definitely more memorable, since the story had such a interesting storyline, and also the episodes with Rebecca and her past lover. I did enjoy those despite me falling asleep twice while attempting to watch the first one. Episodes I didn't really like as much. I didn't really like the whole hotel one with the haunted girl, nor did I really like the newest one, the one where Lupin was giving that dog to that one
Weird,
lady
you
on the
didn't like the
boat.
episode with the dog in it.
Yeah, I mean
Why? I mean, like, why though? Like, what didn't you enjoy about it?
it just seemed very,
Like, pointless or something?
yes,
Mm-hmm.
pointless.
And you like the ones that
And
were the main story because they were the main story, or just because they were good? Because like,
I
there's
guess
certain episodes with the episodes with Rebecca all are important to like the overall plot that's going on, like a science fiction like plot with like Leonardo da Vinci and.
I didn't like those episodes either because that's just straight up confusing.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, there's some weird like sci-fi element where they're like going into different minds and like resurrecting clones, and a lot of stuff is happening recently, and I don't know, it is a little bit like out there, especially for Lupin, which is goofy
mhm.
but grounded in like a certain sense of reality. Like it's kind of like really out there for Lupin, but it hasn't gone so far that it's like it hasn't turned into like Dragon Ball or anything yet. It's not like too crazy, but it's a little bit like eyebrow raising, I guess, for Lupin.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's not concluded, so it's hard to judge whether it's gonna be like really bad or turn out kind of interesting for me. But you don't like it because it's like too. It's too weird for you.
Well, I do like it, but
It's too much psycho like babble stuff. Like, oh, the
it just
x-axis
seems
of
a
the
little
dream goes into
confusing.
like the dimensions of the other worlds, and then he had a code in his sleep that was written in a book on a dream that happened in the 60s, but now he put it inside his brain and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, so I think we're gonna try and keep this as short as possible. So, would you recommend it to people, or how good or bad would you say it is overall?
Well, I have recommended it to people in the past.
how how would you rank it as like against your favorite anime, and does it make you interested in watching other Lupin series, or does it make you more interested in just watching whatever the next one is, or are you undecided about it? Like how would you score it on the scale of out of 10 furries? How many furries would you give it?
Um, I would give it probably about like 8.5. Because I mean it's a pretty good story so far. I mean, there are
Do you
some
like the
confusing
also with
points.
a lot of like newer animes? It's a lot of like continuous stories, and Lupin is more episodic. Do you like that better, or do you prefer the normal animes, the more popular current anime style where it's like a huge arc?
I personally prefer the arc because then there's no, I guess you could call them filler episodes,
Yeah.
where it distracts from the original plot. So I guess that is one thing that I'm not very happy with is the Lupin series.
Okay. So, all right. Well, what? How would you rank it as far as like? Do you think you're gonna like rewatch it, or do you think you're gonna like? Probably not, because you don't rewatch series, right?
No, I don't.
Do you think you're gonna like it once it's done? Like you're gonna remember it as like a show that you really really liked or something? Or do you
Well,
think it's pretty much like it's fun for now and you're just gonna move on to the next show?
I think it's just, I mean, it's definitely going to be memorable, but
And what are you hoping? I guess this is the best way to end it. What are you hoping to see in the finale of the series that will make
an
you satisfied?
explanation on why Leonardo da Vinci
Wait, don't
is.
spoil anything. Don't spoil what happened. It's a
I'm hoping
review.
to see the plot actually finish up and have no, what are they called? Plot breaks? Or.
Plot holes.
Yeah, there we go.
Are you? What do you want to see from the characters? Because this is most likely going to be the end of like Nyx and Rebecca in the series in general. Like I'm pretty sure they're exclusive to this season. So like, what would you like to see tied up with those characters? And
A
the
happy ending.
villain. We'll spoil. We'll say call him the villain. Like, what would you hope to see from all that? Come with that.
I'd like to see a happy ending because all of them are great characters.
Even Nyx.
Yeah,
Nyx is pretty nice.
he has
He's
a
like a
family.
yeah. He's just
He's
like
just crazy.
he's a crazy werewolf papa character, I guess. What about the villain? Like, do you hope he gets killed? What do you think's gonna happen with that?
Well, I hope. Obviously, they're not going to kill him.
You don't think so?
They haven't killed anyone in the series so far except
A
for.
lot of people have died, haven't they?
No, not really.
That guy that Fujiko was dating, his dad got killed, or the owner of that circus got killed. I guess people got like minor characters die in the past. Didn't a bunch of people get shot, like the MI6 guys?
I guess that.
Don't they get killed a lot?
I think that was probably an episode
I
where I
feel
fell
like
asleep.
people have been dying, just not the main characters. But I might be wrong.
Mm,
I feel like a lot
well,
of people, bullets and stuff explodes all the time. So and there's blood.
that
Lupin's
also
been
happens
shot a
in One
lot.
Piece, but
I don't know. Lupin's been shot a lot though.
yeah, see, he's
Um,
still alive.
he's almost died a bunch of times. But
Yeah.
so just everything to work out is basically what you're hoping for.
Yep.
Well, Rebecca's lover's already dead, so you're expecting him to like come
That's
back or something.
spoilers.
It's not a spoiler because he's not in the series. You just know he's not around. The fact that she has a lover had an ex-lover is a spoiler, but him being dead is pretty. As soon as they mention him, they mention he's dead. But yeah. So overall, it's been good. Would you say it is the? How would you rank it against Okamatsu-san? Are those? Are these your two favorites?
Osumatsu-san?
Osan.
Osumatsu-san.
Osamatsu-san. How would you say? I can say it. I just don't remember exactly what name it is. But what would you say are the? Would you say those are your favorite recommended series of the season?
So far. I haven't really looked all too much into other series, but I could definitely say that those two are on the top right now. Um, and I would recommend them to whoever asks for recommendations. So,
Oh wow.
pretty nice
Nice.
anime right there.
Nice.
Real nice.
But yeah, I guess that would yeah, I think they're I would say they're good. Someone who's seen all the Lupin series, I would say they're definitely above average. Lupin in general is like consistently puts out like good, surprisingly good like anime seasons. And the thing about it is, are you still there in the call?
Yep.
Okay. I would say Lupin is one of those series like you could recommend to people who have never ever watched any anime. They don't know what it is. Like it's kind of just like it's like an animated version of like a weekly kind of like adventure TV show like Supernatural or something. It's not like Supernatural at all, but it's that kind of show, you know what I mean? It's like Ash versus Evil Dead. It's that kind of show you could watch. Like it could be a live action show that would air in America just about a thief. It's like Sherlock, but probably you hate it less. So it's like that kind of show. So I think it's easy for people to get into. It doesn't have a lot of anime tropes and cliches that you like sweat drops and stuff and chibis that you have to like know. Like you'd be confused if you're not really familiar with anime. I think it's a good starter series, and it's also like aimed more at an adult audience. So it's yeah, it's good. It's not annoying. It's not hyper and annoying or too weebish for people. So as long as they can, and there's not a ton of fan service either, so it's not gonna like freak people out like, no, this is porn, if they haven't seen it. So even though the girls look a little like they're drawn with like shapely bodies or whatever, there's not a ton of like super gratuitous sexual stuff. All the female characters are pretty. They're not. They're not like bimbos or anything. The characters are all pretty well rounded. It's pretty. They have like a diverse like stories and stuff like that. There's a little bit of everything. So yeah, I think it's a really good like starter series. And I think if you've never seen Lupin, you can just start on this series and enjoy it since you've been enjoying it, and you've probably never seen anything else besides this. So yeah, I think that means we're gonna give it 100 out of 10 furries. All right, all right. Thanks for doing the review with me, and I'm gonna stop recording now.
Bye.